So we will close on that and go back to Briga, who is underground. So
I do have an idea for a scene if you're looking for a scene.
what were you thinking?
Well,
I
I
mean,
was thinking of a scene where Briga comes back to herself and she has been taken by the trolls and is being administered by them. However, given her blunder, um, the
yeah,
trolls, are clearly on the move, uh, going after uh, the Sun People, right? At
yeah.
least the part of,
I think that's what has to happen based on
yeah,
previous events, and so I think we will see, Briga sort of on a being sort of dragged on one of those pallets, like behind a big goat, scruffy, like alpine type ibex with huge horns is dragging you, and like you look around, you as you come to, you look around and you see troll troll hoofs tromping the ground all around you, and you do hear the keening sound of the singing stones, and the trolls are all sort of raising their voices along with it, and they're singing the song you heard Gunda sing
mm-hmm.
earlier. And as you look to the left and right of you, there are hundreds of them.
They're your friends.
And they, you know, pass out of the land of the singing stones and are looking out into at the edge of the land of the singing stones. They are looking down into the valley past the crossroads, a valley of little farms and fields. And they stop, and the troll chieftain at their head raises a wooden club studded with bone spikes and just cries, "War!" And all of the trolls rush in a body down into the valley where the villages sleep unawares.
Yeah, and what kind of shape is Briga in right now? Like
So,
I haven't come to myself. I don't know how long has passed, or
so the interesting thing about this, I think, is that when is that I have to actually look this up. But I think you sort of just go back to being not injured, as if they had sort of fixed you up completely, regardless of how banged up and beaten and bruised you are. I don't think it has a game mechanical effect once you've gotten through the incapacitation experience, right?
right.
And I will double check that you don't maybe go back to being injured, but
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
it
think
is
you
like on
do.
page 54, it says the good news is that injury and incapacitation are easily recovered from. The most common way
Right,
is for
right.
you to make a standard scene request for your Trollbabe babe to be some kind of place where she's recovering or receiving
Yeah,
or administering.
exactly. So I think that's what we do is we
Right.
say that you've
Right. So I'm assuming that, Briga does, is kind of feels somewhat healed, but does not. I mean, it kind of knows what this is about, but does not know really how long
right.
has passed, right? And what exactly has transpired, except that the trolls are clearly angry
Right.
and in a military spirit. Um, so I think what Briga does is she'll kind of roll herself, off of uh, the the sled or whatever it was that she was, being carried on, and is going to kind of attempt to run, kind of get some distance between her and other trolls, but try to then get herself down quickly to the where she sees the human habitation.
Okay. So you can do that. I mean, you're going to see. I mean, you're not going to outrun the trolls, and so they're going to be sort of throwing javelins and, running people out of their farms and sort of running up to the houses and pulling down and destroying houses and just generally going on a rampage.
Yeah, well, and I guess if I see somebody, people running out of their house, I would try to approach them and say, Gunda, where is Gunda? I need to find her.
Okay, these people are like, what? The chieftain's daughter? Is she has something to do with this?
Well, yeah, she, in a manner of speaking, she has something to do with this.
You will find.
She hasn't caused it, but she, she unfortunately has found herself, in the middle of a tug of war.
Okay, so this person you're talking to may be like an old farm woman or farming wife says, come with me to the longhouse. We shall find the chieftain there and his family.
Okay, and Briga will say, go. I will. Did you say this was an older woman?
Yeah, like maybe 50s or 60s.
Yeah. Well,
that was just my idea.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to offer to carry her if she needed to be carried.
Sure, why not? She says, "I'm not proud." Go ahead.
Hoist her on my back.
Okay.
Make my way off with
All
her.
right. She points you to the longhouse. And I think what happens now is you sort of come upon, like, a row of human soldiers has come out, and so they're forming up a shield wall with their shields and spears and clashing with getting ready to clash with the trolls, and the trolls come thundering down on them. And I think you're going to have to succeed in do a fighting conflict to sort of get your way through and around this mess to
okay,
to the longhouse itself, to find your way to Gunda and her family. And so I think I'll start at the middle pace, clash by clash, and you can sort of decide if you want to take it down or.
I think I might move that to the all or nothing.
Okay.
Keep it. And the reason for that is I think that Briga, when she sees that line there,
mm-hmm.
she assesses what she thinks is the weakest point, and she lowers her head with those long horns, and she's going to take the, just a kind of all out, sprint, using her horned head as a kind of battering ram to get her way through that line.
All right, make the roll.
Oh, it was a success.
All right.
It was a 4, and that's what I did.
So this is a classic, comic book panel of her just running in a straight line and people flying, everywhere as she bashes straight through. And your momentum just carries you straight through the wall of the longhouse. I think, or the front door, or whatever. Just bash it wide open.
And the woman is still on my back.
And you see,
He's screaming.
and you see all kinds of people sort of holed up in here, including, in a glance you take in that Lars and Ame, the two brothers, are here, heavily armed and armored. What you take to be their father is there with him. He looks like them, except he has gray in his beard. And Gunda is there as well, along with many other women who are sort of waiting on her / kind of keeping an eye on her. And the two brothers and Gunda all immediately look over and as one voice say, "You!" Or wait, did you ever actually encounter Gunda, talk to Gunda? Maybe you didn't, did you? You never directly talked to her.
You're able to.
Yeah, I don't think I was able to.
She might have seen you off in the distance,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, she might know you by looks that you were with
Sheer
the two
sex.
brothers, but yeah. But they're surprised, so if you want to take the initiative here.
Yeah, and well, I think that what Briga does is she comes kind of fuming up to Lars in particular and says, "This is exactly what I was telling you all, that, you with your heavy-handed tactics would ignite a fire that you didn't know how to put out, and now I don't know whether you even have a full sense of the kind of forces that are arrayed against you right now."
Okay, at this point, the father steps out from between them and says, "I am Jarl Knut, I should say. I always forget that's not a silent K. I am Jarl Knut, and I am the veteran of many deadlier wars than this. We have punished the trolls before, and we will punish them again. And in the meantime, we will conduct our business the way we please."
This is Briga says, I have not known the people of the sun for very long, but it doesn't take long to kind of realize the way that your people think about things. I see. I knew what was that? What was that guy's name from last week? Was it Rudolph? Was that?
Oh, Jarl Radolf.
Radolf.
It is kind of like
Yeah,
Rudolph, but it's
yeah.
Radolf.
I had some contact with Jarl Radolf, and he unfortunately made similar mistakes that almost resulted in his complete demise. There is a way out of this, but I don't think you're going to find it a very pleasant way.
All right, he says, "You may speak."
Well, the fact is that the trolls revere Gunda, your daughter, and the music that she can play, they find of deep significance to them. That this whole thing was ignited because your sons would forcefully kind of took her away from the trolls, and that has ignited their fury.
If that is so, then there is nothing for it but for us to quell their fury with our arms, because a chieftain's daughter has responsibilities to her people, not to trolls or stones or abstract dissonant music. Kids these days, I swear.
Okay. And what is Gunda doing during all this? What is her reaction?
She just seems to be noticing the conversation and listening intently, and I think though she will finally speak. She will speak out and say, "You see, Father, this can all end. Just let me be. Let me finish my music." And did you want to jump in, or?
Well, I think I'm assuming that this is not going to be persuasive for him.
No, he's. It's almost as if he doesn't hear her talking. Really.
Yeah. So I think Briga says.
God forbid I should ever make one of these people nuanced. I don't know.
Yeah. Briga just says, "Well, if you want to go marching off to your undoing, so be it." And Briga kind of just throws up her hands as if in disgust, and kind of steps away. But she's also doing this kind of surreptitiously surveying the long hall and trying to kind of see where the exits are.
Okay. So you sort of storm away, or in the other direction, taking note of how the hall is built, and you sort of see that there's the one main door that you sort of blasted through the first time, and there's an assortment of small windows just lining the hall on each side that are closed with shutters right now, but plenty of those. And there are, of course, rafters, a hearth, a chimney. It's one of those wooden houses with very complex rafter system holding it up. So that's sort of a whole place to play where you decide to go up. But anyway, as you do turn around, you hear Gunda cry to you, and this time she almost sounds sort of, despairing. She just says, "Please, can't you do anything?" Just
I'm thinking that Briga, like her intent here, and I'm thinking about using some magic.
All right.
And the magic would be to try to, it's going to be a magic for subtle communication with Gunda.
Okay.
Perhaps through a kind of humming sound that she would be in tune with. And it would be for, the message. The goal here is to convey a message that the people around here would not be able to pick up on, but it would be to, make your way. Now, you said that there's the main door, there are windows around. Is there a door in the back as well? Or is
I feel like there's not usually. Well, there might be a side. It makes sense for there to be at least a side door where like kitchen staff or whatever you want to call them.
I'd either be directing her towards like a larger window, or if there was like a side door. Yeah. To kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I got the point of you. You're trying to coordinate a sort of an escape for her. And yeah, we can go with that.
With at the end of it, get ready for the ride of your life.
All right.
Even if it fails, get ready for the ride of your life.
Yes. But it would be through a kind of humming, right, where I don't really facially acknowledge her, right, or with my eyes, but I'm kind of humming something that would kind of form into her mind as a communication.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. That is a failure.
Okay. That is a failure. So you narrate your failures.
Well, I think
That's
that,
fine.
that she is, she maybe hears what I'm doing, but does not pick up on it as being of anything
Right.
significant, right?
Right.
Um,
If I may throw something in, I think
uh-huh.
the two brothers might remember you having done this before and recognize your witchcraft
Hmm.
and speak up and uh, try to stop you somehow. Try
Yeah,
to
that makes sense.
interrupt
That
you.
they,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, so I mean that they kind of interrupt me, and then I guess I would I'm gonna try a reroll, and I'm gonna do it with a carried object, and this will be my moss covered charm
All right.
um, that I kind of grab onto as like seeking out some this is a charm bracelet that I see as having some type of magical kind of force to it,
Okay. And so you're
and you
go.
see her just kind of focusing, and she's trying to kind of maybe even establish some type of telepathic connection with Gundan or Gunda.
Okay.
Are we going to be successful this
I
time?
hope so. Is that success?
That is a success.
Hey.
All right. There
Yeah.
you go. All right. So you hold up the charm and add it to your efforts, and like this, the sort of brothers who are sort of moving forward to try to stop you from doing your witchcraft instinctively flinch as if they're afraid you're going to cast a spell on them. And that's enough time for you to communicate the message to Gunda, who hears it, and as all eyes are on you, she sort of slips out of the group of women who are sort of babysitting her, you might say, or and quickly climbs the wall and jumps out the window you indicated to her.
Yeah, and I think what Briga does is she kind of turns to that front door and she says, "I hear the trolls out there. They're upon you." And trying to use that as a kind of way to kind of get the attention on the army that's kind of you know marching upon them. And at the earliest possible moment, right, that Briga sees a chance, she's going to go kind of darting to that exit,
Right.
and try to pick Gunda up on her back and kind of make her way, hightailing it out of the
Right. So I think
out of
you do so. You get Gunda on her back, and we see, she says, "Take me to the stones." As we see you running away from the sort of the clash between the human and troll warriors, and then we sort of leave that scene for a sec, and I think we go under the sea.
under the sea.
Under the sea.
And so you're sort of where you are now is in sort of a huge spacious hall carved completely out of like multicolored coral, and with these vaulting beams carved in the shapes of fins and crabs and lobsters, and it's all very very baroque and decadent. And you're sort of sitting at a table of similar material, having a nice undersea. We might think of it as it looks like a sort of scene of someone drinking coffee, but it's more of a chowder sort of thing. But you're sort of sitting at this table along with Klaus is there, a bunch of sea people are there, the princess is there, and her father, the Sea King, is there with his, of course, crown made of a big conch shell, and regalia made of netting and bright shells. And she is saying, Father, this is the man I have chosen. I believe he has many fine qualities. And Klaus is like, yeah, I'm all right. And the Sea King says, well, I was hoping you would go with another sea person, but we can give this a shot. However, in order for this man to prove that he's more than a fly-by-night visitor, I must insist that you get married at the soonest possible date. Like today.
I step forward and I say, greetings, Your Majesty. I am Vulgaria, a humble traveler of this world. I would hope that the marriage between your daughter and Brother Klaus would bring hopefully happiness to both parties and perhaps peace between your land and the land of the monks.
I'm not following you. There is peace between our land and the land of the monks.
I think Bulgaria looks a little taken aback and says, then why have the sea people been stealing the goods of the monks?
Well, like if they're on land, then that's one thing. But if they get in boats and go out on the sea, I mean, whatever's in the sea is our stuff. I mean, we're not stealing it.
But it's not technically in the sea, it's in the boats.
But the boats are in the sea.
I shake my head and I say, sir, if this union is to be, I think that an agreement would have to be made, for your people are terrorizing the monks. And their goods. Those are theirs.
All right. Well, so first I didn't know the monks were such babies, and second, I mean, I'm the king, so if I say they get married, then they get married. And if I say we don't need an agreement, then we don't need an agreement. So the way I see it, that's how this goes down.
Then I'm afraid that I'm going to have to take Brother Klaus with me, and there will be no marriage.
Brother Klaus has the look of someone who is trying to balance on one foot on a very high pole. He's just clearly in mental agony. What is happening here? Like little beads of sweat running down his face. And
does he say anything?
His mouth is moving, but no actual words are coming out.
I think I take him by the shoulder and I say, "Come on, son, we're leaving."
All right. The king says, "To speak in such a way to a king, and to take your leave as you please, is nothing less than..." There's a word for it, but I can't remember. Anyway.
I think I say, I turn to, I don't really look at him, I just kind of glance over my shoulder. I didn't realize the King of the Sea was such a baby.
All right. Seize them! Fighting conflict.
All right.
So sea people are rushing at you, and you are trying to, I assume, escape to back to the surface.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go straight in terms of visuals. I think we can go straight to you swimming with clouds to the surface, and then just like horde of dudes coming up behind you, and that's kind of where we're starting with a conflict. And then for pace, I mean, I'll say clash by clash, the middle one.
And then you can decide whether to keep
it. It could go either way, or you could keep it there, or you could go up, you could go down.
Yeah, I think that's the clash by clash sounds good.
Okay.
So I think that I'm going to start. I've got Klaus in one hand, and I'm going to unzip my pouch of big rocks, and I'm gonna just start, dropping them down on the sea people's heads.
All right. So let's see a roll.
That was a success.
Yeah.
All right. So your plan works like a charm, and you drop the rock straight. It's surprising how well this works, considering that you wouldn't really think it would. But comic book logic, the rocks fall straight on the sea people's heads and stun them, and like the sea peoples are just scattering away. And I think it's time, though, to bring out... Obviously, since you are at the heart of the Sea People's Kingdom, they have here the biggest octopus. So, now, purely release the Kraken, a genuinely enormous, monstrous creature comes speeding up from the undersea coral palace and lunges at your foot with its enormous tentacle, wrapping you in to bring you back to its maw. Its cavernous maw.
Okay.
So you do need one more success here.
All right. So I think that I am going to surprise the octopus and turn myself so that I'm head first towards the octopus and propelling myself towards the octopus, using my spirally horns to impale said Kraken.
Wow. All right.
No!
Oh, no. All right. Well, you do narrate your failure.
Yes. So I think that I do end up torpedoing into the Kraken, but he is more gelatinous than I had anticipated, so he just kind of
enfolds.
Okay. So you're just enfolded in the Kraken's mass.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to wrap you with his tentacles and dangle you in front of his beak and snatch you up. And now we've got one roll left, and it's a succeed or fail.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I'm being dangled by
you're
in front of his beak.
Yes, you're being dragged in a tentacled grasp. You're being dragged towards his enormous beak.
Okay. I think I kind of I'm gonna try to grab my satchel full of rocks and just kind of slam it into the Kraken.
Gotcha.
Although since we're in water, I hope this works.
Okay.
Oh,
it is a success.
Yeah.
All right. You slam your satchel into the Kraken's square on its beak, in fact, and it stunned. It lets go, and you swim quickly to the surface and pad. Once you're at the surface, you hit the ground and just run right up the shore all the way to where the monks are sort of all hanging. They're all sort of sitting at the base of the city palisade, you know, and they see you come running up, and you're like, oh, there they are. Is that what happens? Sorry, we actually had quite a time cut between you going down to the sea and whatever that doing. So maybe to keep this simple, you just walk into the city. You know, the town. Like the monks are long gone. Actually, I think we'll do this, and you just sort of walk into the city, bedraggled, and you and Klaus are bedraggled and dripping with black ink, and because octopus, I forgot to mention. And people just stare at you in dumbstruck awe, and Klaus just turns to you and says, "Well, guess I'll be getting back to those riddles. Thanks for saving me, I guess."
I look at him and I say, "Anytime, kid, anytime." And I walk towards the nearest tavern.
Okay. And see. And so I think that's where we leave. Vulgaria. Yeah. And Briga was last seen carrying Gunda. There was a Gudrun last name. Now there's a Gunda. I need more name variety. And I think maybe we see you, the two of you, back at the Singing Stones. But it's just the two of you. The trolls and the humans are still fighting in the valley. I mean, you've sort of gotten her back to where she feels she needs to be, but there's been the damage is done. But maybe there will only be this one battle, and hopefully not more battles. But she's looking around at the stones, and the sky is cleared up. There's still a chilly breeze going through the air, whistling through the stones, and she just says, What was that song you were singing earlier in the hall when you sent that message to me? I liked the sound of that."
Yeah, and I think maybe, to bring the scene to an end, you just see, Briga starting to hum that song again, and we have the singing stones around us, and it's a old trollish tune that she had heard when she was growing up, right? Or at least that's part of what was part of the kind of spell that she was doing, was this trollish folk tune.
Okay, and I think, of course, Gunda joins with you, and we see we hear that somehow it perfectly harmonizes with the notes blowing through the wind, and we zoom out, way out, as we leave you, the two figures, standing in the great field of standing stones.